Hi and welcome. It is Wednesday. It is Wellness Wednesday. My name is Baptiste from Akalo Wellness, and I am presenting weekly webinars for you to take the reins of your health and your well-being. I am really excited to be here today. We are going through a really important topic, and a lot of us are experiencing it, have experienced it, will experience it, and it's called adrenal fatigue. If you've never heard of this before, I'll break it down, but we're going to talk about this month different ways to overcome adrenal fatigue, because more often than not, those that are experiencing stress are dealing with adrenal fatigue. And before we even go in there, we'll say why it's so important and how we're going to heal it today. And it's going to be through exercise. There's a lot of ways to work through adrenal fatigue: diet, lifestyle, it goes on and on. But today we're talking about exercise. Before we go any further, I should share a little bit about me. My name is Baptiste, and I am the CEO and founder of Akalo Wellness. My firm empowers, equips, and gives women the tools and the techniques to overcome stress so that they can thrive. I've been doing this for a long time now, and I've been seeing clients for a long period. And what I see is that there are certain symptoms and things that we are experiencing as women that are affecting us. It's affecting our productivity. It's affecting our effectiveness. It's affecting our relationships and our career. So at this point, I've decided, this is my mission to help women break through what is going on in their bodies so that they can live a life with meaning and that they can feel great and that they can ultimately thrive. So let's get into it, because this webinar is less than 20 minutes to give you a nugget or several nuggets of wisdom so that you can walk into the rest of your week empowered, so that you could take action. So let's talk about adrenal fatigue a little bit, because some of us don't know where it is or what's going on, or maybe you've heard the term, or maybe you're coining yourself with the term, but you're not fully sure that you're feeling it. So let's take it one step back. When we are stressed, our body starts to go through pressure, right? We know that when we're stressed, we start to feel there's actual physiological things that are happening to the brain, that it shrinks slightly. Our body gets tighter. What's happening in our blood is that we're circulating more hormones. Now, some of you might have heard of a hormone called cortisol or adrenaline. These two hormones help us with fight or flight. These two hormones help us through the things that are hard in life. So when we are in a tough work situation where we're dealing with crazy deadlines, or we're in a situation where we need to be at our optimum, which more often than not seems to be all the time, then we start to fatigue. You might start to experience tiredness, low energy, or irregular energy. You may start to feel this like lethargy in the body or a heaviness. And then it's those signs that are the early symptoms of adrenal fatigue. If you're dealing with stress, maybe there's a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of depression. You just feel off. And so if you're starting to feel off, the thing is, that may be adrenal fatigue. So a few questions to ask yourself. Are you going through, or have you been going through, a long period of stress? And this isn't just like 1 or 2 days. This isn't just COVID-19 time, right? We can be feeling it even in this period of 3 weeks, but likely a lot of us that are feeling adrenal fatigue have been feeling it for a very long time. It's those little things that we're feeling when we're feeling off that, if not addressed, it starts to pick up and feel like more. It's going to feel like maybe it's going to start to say, okay, well, now I need medicine to go to sleep and I can't sleep at night. And maybe it's turning into food as counterproductive coping mechanisms, right? Like eating extra dessert at night, or drinking yourself to sleep, or extra like alcohol just to kind of cope. And you might notice that you'll start to experience that. So what I want to offer today, because a lot of us will say, I feel really good when I exercise. And there's a lot of truth to that. We know there are studies that talk about the importance of exercise. But what I want to talk about today, as we're talking about exercise and we're talking about women and we're talking about stress, is that not all exercise is created equal. Not all exercise is created equal. And sometimes we know this, and sometimes we can say, okay, I know the difference between a yoga class and working or running a marathon, right? There's a difference there. But what we think often, especially in Western society, is that the marathon type of workouts and doing that all the time is better for me. And so what I'm going to offer today is a little bit of guidance of why that's not the case. Going harder isn't always going better, or isn't always going to have better effects on your body. And so when we're thinking about exercise, I want to shift, right? Unless you are a professional athlete and this is your business and this is your stress and this is your life, like that's a whole other bucket. But most women that I'm working with and that I'm talking to, exercise is a part of their life that they use to stay in shape, to lose weight, to feel great. So if we're not thinking about exercise as our only job, right? We should be thinking of exercise as something that benefits us. Now there's the really quick hit of like, I'm going to go into a hard workout and I'm going to feel awesome and accomplished after. And there's a lot of truth to that. But if you are fatiguing your body, if you feel exhausted after a workout consistently, then we need to change the way that you're working out. All right, so let me just pause there. If you have any questions, feel free to write them on the chat board wherever you're watching this or listening. I'm here for you to help you understand why it's so important that we are mindful of how we're working out when we're dealing with stress. And this time, especially as we're dealing with this coronavirus, is no different. If we're feeling exhausted, exercise either can be something that we're just not interested in right now, or it can be something that we then overdo to make up, right, for that idea of the stress that we're experiencing. So you say, all right, let me hit it hard for an hour because this is my hour. And I want to encourage you to use that hour so that you can feel great. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to break down exercise a little bit more just to make sure that you can have the best exercise regimen ever, so you can feel good for your body. So if you are this person, right, who's experiencing stress and overwhelm, maybe right now in your life, what I want to invite for you is to rethink your exercise. Start with writing down how often you're exercising. Is it once or twice a week? Is it 4 to 5 times a week? Is it every single day? And so if you're on the lower side of the scale where you're not working out very often, this is the encouragement to do more, to move your body, right? This doesn't mean you have to go to the gym and do a high intensity interval workout class for an hour, but it's an invitation to walk more, to move your body more, to maybe do a sun salutation or do something, right? Because they even say in the science of Ayurveda that emotions are energy that's stuck in your body, specifically between the stomach and the large intestine. So what we want to do is really move that center of the body. And that's why when we talk about exercise, core work is so important. And these things of just getting out and moving, because it has this effect on you. And so I want you to think less of, how am I going to look on the outside, but how am I going to feel on the inside after doing something like this? So there's one thing, right? Let's think about that. But as we're going into exercise, a really important thing that we should be thinking about is how often. So if you're 1 to 2, then that's fine, right? Working towards somewhere in the middle. If you're on the scale of 7 days a week, I'm going to ask you, are you hitting it too hard? Are you varying your workouts? Is everything always go in hard, sweat hard, leave, and feel exhausted? And if you are on that scale where you're using exercise as your drug, I want you to see if you can modify. So especially if you're feeling exhausted after workouts, right? This isn't telling you to like just lay on the couch and eat cookies. This is also not telling you to like stop giving up on your goals and your dreams. And if you're trying to, you feel great. But what I see often is women that are experiencing stress have stubborn weight and they can't lose that weight. And a lot of time it's the adrenal fatigue that's pulling on and holding onto that fat. So the more you stress your body and trick it to believe that it's going through fight or flight, the more we're not going to lose that weight. The more we're going to feel terrible. The more that this repetitive cycle continues on. So what's the path then? A happy medium. And that is going to be different for each of you. And the beauty even is that could vary within the weeks of your menstrual cycle. So I'm not going to say it has to be a certain number of days and it has to be a certain, way that it looks, because the medicine to some is poison to others. And so I want you to think about that. If you're someone who is experiencing this, I'm feeling that heaviness of the work and my life, then could a 20-minute light workout be enough where you feel energized after, right? That's the end goal. I don't want you feeling exhausted after, because exhaustion in your day plus exhaustion in your workout is going to just mean exhaustion overall, low energy, harder recovery time, longer recovery. So what's really important as we're thinking of this is what feels good for me? What do you need to feel after your workout that you feel good? That is my goal. That's my invitation for you. So a lot of times I hear women are doing 45 to 60 minute high intensity workouts. But if you're experiencing this overwhelm, we need to tone it down. So the invitation here is to say, can I work out for 20 minutes instead and make it count? And making it count doesn't mean exhausting myself in 20 minutes, but leaving feeling uplifted, empowered, energized. It's a whole different way of working out. So it depends on the woman who's listening, because some need really direct guidance. And I'm going to give you a recommendation that might work for the average woman. And then there's some who like this range of playing and exploring their body and what works for them. So that's an invitation as well. And then some of you, I'm going to have to nudge you and encourage you and somewhat trick you into working out. And that's because we're all different and we all hear it different. So we all know, right, very clearly, movement is important to us. Exercise is critical to our well-being. But when I'm thinking about exercising and living a life of stress, I need to figure out a way that works for me. So here's an invitation. Can you work out 3 to 4 times a week for 20 to 30 minutes? If that feels reasonable, then starting to find what workout suits you. Maybe it's every other day doing some cardio, and then maybe every other day going for a light walk for 25 minutes. Maybe it's light body weights that work in the arms, maybe some squats in the legs, maybe a short Pilates class. What will make you feel energized? So there it is, right? 3 to 4 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes, lighter intensity workouts. And if you are someone who craves high intensity, then can you do it once or twice a week as opposed to every single day? So I am open to questions, and I'm always available if you are someone who has been training and does a lot of high mileage and is maybe experiencing a loss of a menstrual cycle or heavy migraines or intense fatigue after or slow recovery. I am always available to answer those questions. But these are some of the common things that I'm seeing as I work with clients who are working out. So really important here. So as we're thinking about our exercise, how can we leave feeling empowered, feeling great? There's this feeling that we get sometimes, and that's a differentiator of I feel great, but I'm exhausted, and I feel great, and I feel uplifted and energized. I want you to think about exercise as your side, like a little side thing that helps bring out the best in you. And I know a lot of us do think of exercise like that. I use my exercise time to release my mind and to de-stress. But if you're not doing it in a way that is serving to your body, here's the thing. You're going to age faster. You're going to get sick more often. You're not going to sleep as great. You're going to be more anxious. These are realities of continuing to be in this fight or flight state. And so then what you need to do, like any drug, is add more cortisol to your body to feel good. So you just need to keep adrenalizing, keep going, because if you're in fight or flight, then you are always in that state. And then one day, maybe next month, maybe in a year, maybe in 10 years, if we don't modify the way we live, we're going to crash. And so some of us see that in very different ways. And we can talk about that, how that will look, in future episodes of what if we kind of continue at this rate and don't change, what that might look like. But know that right now, if you're experiencing anything that is resonating at all, it's a really good opportunity to analyze your exercise and see what modifications you might desire to make to feel good. I can speak for myself personally. I was a collegiate athlete, Division I runner, long distance runner, putting in 60 plus miles a week. And at that time, I didn't even realize it, but I was experiencing some of my worst health. And it wasn't about weight for me. It was about my hormones were completely messed up. I was experiencing really bad menstruation or the lack of menstruation. And I was experiencing all of these different things, right? Some of us just equate exercise to weight, but there's so much more that exercise does to our body. So we have to be really careful. And a lot of times we eat and we do things that might not be serving our body, even though we think a salad is best for me right now or a smoothie is really good. And we'll talk about that in the next episode of how we can cure adrenal fatigue using food and diet and lifestyle. So let's recap, because this is really important. And I also want to make one more point right at the end, but I want us to be dissecting our exercise. If we're not doing enough, it's time. You need to exercise. You need to move your body. Otherwise, that stale emotion gets stuck. Otherwise, that energy gets stuck. That weight will be stuck if you don't move. If you are moving too much, this is the encouragement to see how you can dial it down slightly. And it's baby steps. I know I used to be a workoutaholic. It takes time to work towards it. Maybe if you were 60-minute every single day, you switch to 45 minutes every single day. I promise you your performance will be better. What we think is more, but there is a point where less is more. Again, unless you're a professional athlete, less can be more for you, your performance, your body, your weight, and everything. I promise you that. I've seen it over and over and over. And so the one thing, my invitation to all of you, is to find days of rest. If you are not taking rest days in your exercise regimen, then you are going to feel the effects of it. And so whether it's during the first 3 days of your menstrual cycle, you take that as a rest, which is always a really beautiful time to slow down and stop. That is one thing. Whether it's every Saturday and you take rest, that's great. But at least 1 to 2 days, right? And let's determine what rest is. For some of us, that just might mean switching it from a run to a walk. For some of us, that might be taking the day off altogether. But it's imperative that we're finding this balance between effort and rest. We know this, we've seen this, we experience it, right? We could talk about that in our work day, or if I don't sleep, I don't show up to work the best version of myself. The same comes with your exercise. If you overdo it, you're gonna overdo it. You're gonna be starting to steal those extra bits of energy that you have left. So this is it. Today we're talking about the effects of women and stress and how to cure it through exercise. My name is Lauren Baptiste. If you have any questions, I'm always here and available for you. My email is lauren@akaloawellness.com. You can message me here. You can message me wherever you find me. I am really excited to be on your journey, and feel free to share this if you have a friend who's experiencing this out of nowhere tiredness or just feeling off. Throw this her way and see if she might be experiencing something like this adrenal fatigue. Anyway, I'm here for you this Wednesday and every Wednesday. I'm excited to be doing my first live on Facebook today. For my Zoomers who are here and consistent, so great to see you all. Wishing you an empowered week ahead. I'm here from you. I support you. Take control of what you can, surrender the rest, and things will feel good. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. Talk to you all so soon.